Wow.
As a small creator, as someone that's...
You're small. What am I? Oh my goodness.
I'm happy for you.
Thank you very much.
That's such a dope collab. That's the dopest one I think I've heard of ever.
Straight off the bat, my highest paid deal was... Hi.
Hey.
Tell us your name. What sort of content do you create?
Raymond, Kahuma. I make entertainment content on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just everything.
Okay. I'm Tati Kapaya. I make lifestyle travel content on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest mainly. Yes. Okay, Raymond, what led you to start creating and what has been your experience so far?
That's an interesting question. I would say I started content creation because I felt like I wanted to put my personality out there somehow. If it was movies, whatever, I just wanted to be like a character somewhere. And you don't really get too many of those opportunities here in Africa. So best way for you to do is just like film yourself. Literally, that's how because I'm primarily a YouTuber. YouTube's original slogan was broadcast yourself. So like you literally just turn on the camera and just show yourself to the world.
When did you start YouTube that you know that was the original slogan?
Well, that was their slogan when they began, but they kind of dropped that. I started YouTube in 2020?
Okay.
2019, 2020. I forgot which one in specific.
Okay.
Why did you begin?
I needed a creative outlet. So I kind of started when I was in sixth form, which was around like 16, 17 years old. But like I wasn't making videos properly. They were like ghastly clips. But I needed a creative outlet because I was studying like further maths, physics, economics. But I was like a creative person. And I feel like I didn't have anywhere to express that. So yeah, started a YouTube channel.
But even your first videos are good.
Oh no, they're not. You haven't seen them. Like they're not good.
Wait, are they up on your channel?
Some of them are, like some of them from the first year, like from 2015. But like they weren't YouTube, well, technically I started on Snapchat because I had a Snapchat show called Tati's Awkward Life.
What?
And I was like spamming my Snapchat story with like all these different sketches, and loads of people, I say loads, like my friends, would reply and just say, we don't want to see your stories here, just make a YouTube channel if you want to like do sketches. So my first ever video was technically like a season 2 trailer for Tati's Awkward Life. And then the rest of the videos for the rest of those few years before I decided to take it seriously were very, just here, I'd take a break for 6 months. It'd be a sketch, it'd be a story time, just a random singing cover. Like there was nothing serious about it.
We need to see you to put them back up.
Some of them are still up.
Really?
Because I do like the idea of people seeing the growth. Because it's like, no, guys, they used to be so much worse. So just appreciate what you have now.
What we have now.
But yeah, I just needed a creative outlet. Yeah. But what's been your experience creating so far?
I think it's been very fulfilling because it feels like I'm doing what I wanted to do. It wasn't like something that was picked for me, which is very nice. And I'm blessed to have that. But it also has its own frustrations, comes with its frustrations, as you know.
Yes.
Brands and how to make it financially viable.
Yeah, but we're grateful nonetheless. I'd say the same thing. The experience has been really fun in the sense that I know that I can wake up and just create and do what I love, but the frustration definitely comes sometimes when you're like, I need to pay my mortgage or my rent, and I don't know how to. So, yes.
The thing I don't like about that the most is it affects your creativity because there's the idea that you like, and then there's the idea that is gonna do better, and that's gonna make more revenue to then pay your bills.
How do you find that balance then? Like creating for yourself versus creating for other people, and then also creating for brands?
Unfortunately, I think as a small creator, as someone that's...
You're small, what am I? Oh my goodness. Okay, fair enough.
I think we're all still coming up, right, in this scene. But I would say, I think as a small creator, you need to focus on how to make money.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it needs to be a big focus, but also see how you could do it. I like to see how I could do it while still enjoying the process somewhat. Because you need to, you can't just also focus on the idea that's going to make money, because you have to sit down, film that video for hours, days, weeks, edit it, which is, about editing, which is crazy monotonous.
Yeah.
So you need to at least find those jokes interesting that you said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember sometimes like making travel videos and I'll be on my laptop for 3-4 days on like 8-hour days plus 8+ hour days, and just like editing and just hoping that someone would enjoy them. So
While traveling?
No, not whilst traveling, like after coming back. Like if I've gone on like a 3-day trip, it'll take me at least 3 days to edit that video. Like if I wake up 9 a.m., I'm sat at my desk, 9 p.m., clock out, and then just do that. But
while doing school?
Yeah, I'm not in school anymore. I graduated from my master's in January. So now I'm like coming up to a year of being not in school.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, that's been the experience so far. Off the top of your head, what has been your favorite brand collaboration in a few words or more, and why?
That's a good question. My favorite brand collaboration. Okay, so my favorite brand collaboration would be a video I did with EABL Kenya for Oktoberfest. So I have this series that I like doing on my YouTube where I go and do concert reviews.
Yes, I've seen.
Party and like that.
Yes, I've seen.
I think it's such a unique angle.
Very unique angle.
Right?
Yes.
And I'm
indeed.
surprised more people don't do this.
Because you have to be a certain type of person and be able to be very comfortable outside of your comfort zone, and just like be quite extroverted to be able to do that. Like I would rather die. So it's like very admirable that you can do that.
I get the direct opposite from your videos.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
So basically, just to get back, I did this video basically I love doing concert videos, right? It's so fun to go and film these concerts. It's a very short shoot in my world, which is only a day long. That's ridiculously short for me.
Wow.
Most shoots will take 3 weeks. So it's only a 24-hour shoot, having fun. So I did one in my first few weeks here in Kenya, and then EABL saw that, and then they emailed me and they were like, we'd like you to do our festival as well. It's coming up in October, Oktoberfest. So yeah, we just went back and forth and then agreed on whatever deliverables, That was really nice. It was nice because it was very short. They gave me creative freedom of how I could film they literally just told me, do whatever you want. Like, we just want to pass this message, which was sustainability of the festival, because that's a big thing now. Festivals, like, literally, they leave so much waste. Most festivals around the world leave so much waste. So now the going thing is to see how to make it sustainable. So as long as you could preach that, you could do whatever you want. So that was really nice to just have creative freedom.
Wow.
Which is not very common here.
Okay. Interesting. Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. What is yours? What is your favorite brand collaboration?
To date, probably my collaboration with YouTube most recently, because that was like...
You collabed with YouTube?
So, yeah, because they basically had a campaign where they wanted to encourage people to #make it on YouTube. So they wanted more people to join the platform, I guess, and just start making long-form content again.
After TikTok came?
After what?
After TikTok came and...
Yeah, this was literally like a few months ago.
Oh, okay.
This was my latest collaboration. One of them. But yeah, so they were very much like... have some creative freedom. There were some obviously like strict guidelines in the terms of like you can't mention any other tech brands and that sort of stuff, but it felt like I had freedom. And obviously starting on YouTube, it definitely felt very validating to come full
that's
circle.
my dream.
It was very fun. So yeah, I think I have peaked in some way, shape or form. So I look forward to see the disappointment at the end of 2024. But no, it was like, that was probably my favorite just because of the like full circleness of it.
That's
and I got
crazy.
to make like a bunch of short form content, like some long form content as well. So yeah.
That is crazy. How did they reach out to you?
I have a manager, so they reached out through there.
Okay.
But I've known some of the YouTube team for a while, just like from going to events and stuff in London. So
I'm happy for you.
thank you very much.
That's such a dope collab. That's the dopest one I think I've heard of ever.
Thank you.
Yeah. Do you prefer complete creative freedom or a big budget?
I prefer a big budget because because I feel like I'm quite good at working within strict constraints. So even if they were to be like, oh, you can't do this, I trust my creativity enough to still be able to make something unique, even if there's not that much creative freedom. So I'd rather take the big budget and work with some constraints, because at the end of the day, when working with brands, the priority is making sure the brand is happy with what video you've made. And as long as I stay authentic and true to myself, the video is always going to be, like, it's going to work on my page. So yeah, I'd rather have a big budget, and then you can just like be a bit more creative in terms of like the location you choose, or, you know, the equipment you use and that sort of stuff. So
that's such an interesting answer, because I want to be this. I want to give the same answer and say budget, but I've had to talk to brands and be like, bro, I cannot do this because of the worst one for me is time constraints. Because editing takes so long, shooting takes so long, and a lot of when brands reach out to you will be very short notice.
yes.
Like, we have this thing on Sunday, today is Friday.
Yeah.
Right? And I guess if the budget's tempting enough, but I hate working under conditions like that.
Do you feel like it restricts your creativity in a bit? Like, do you feel like it restricts your creativity when you don't have as much time to think about your ideas?
I don't think it's creativity as much as it is the performance. Because I really like, I want to do stuff that I could guarantee, that I think is going to do well.
Oh, okay.
Right? So you need a decent idea.
Yeah.
Because now analytics is a very big deal, right? Like how well the video is going to perform on YouTube.
Yeah.
So if you told me that you have a thing on Sunday and it's Friday,
Yeah.
I don't have an idea to how I don't know how to package it well enough that it'll move on social media. Because at the end of the day, the brand is gonna give you that money, but they're gonna ask for the analytics back.
Yes.
To see if they're gonna work with you again.
Yeah.
And then they're not gonna remember that they, in months ahead, they won't remember that they came to you on short notice. They're gonna be like, okay, how did it perform?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't like to put my neck out there when it comes to performance of videos. I'm gonna take this brand deal. The budget's gonna be a lot, but then it's gonna be on my page, and like the rest of the videos performed well, and then that one video didn't perform well, but then you still need the money.
Yeah,
I would say I'm 50-50.
It's a tough one. Well, you've kind of already answered the next one, but would you prefer a tight turnaround or a delayed payment? Like if a brand were to be like, we need this in 2 days, but you get paid on time, or you have a bit more time, but they're going to take 60 days when your contract was net 30.
The thing that I hate the most is delayed payments. It's the worst thing you could deal with as a creator, and I've dealt with that a lot, and it's so annoying. I need someone to explain this to me because I still don't understand it.
I know, and I think it needs to be more of a common thing to have a late clause in contracts. So in the payment clause, have like, if you're late by over 7 days, each day incurs interest of X%.
But then my issue with that is a lot of the brand deals come like this. They come to you with their deliverables and their package for you.
They're very much in control.
How are you going to make them sign something?
Well, they come to you with a contract to sign, right? Mm-hmm. So you just request amendments to their contract. So in your payment clause that you've said you'll pay me in 30 days, also add that if you're late by 7 days or more, you incur interest of X% per day.
I didn't know that.
So that's what people are doing. Whether it works or not, whether the brand will agree is a different question, but it's still worth asking.
And you know, they know that they have the power. At least right now they have a power.
Yeah.
So if you said, again, if it's they need you by Sunday to film this thing, have it out by Tuesday, let's say, and today's Friday, they approached you to do the thing on Sunday and they need it out by Tuesday.
Yeah.
If you send back that thing with the amended clause, you might miss that window.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. That's a risk. Yeah.
That you're willing to take? Are you willing to take the delayed payment or?
No, I'd much rather take a tight turnaround. I will not risk a delayed payment, even though they still happen anyway. Like, that's just part of it. And also one thing you mentioned, which grinds my gears, is this like sort of expectation that content creators work Monday to Sunday. And it's like, if you're clocking out on Friday, why am I having to clock in on Saturday and Sunday to get your video up by Monday? Video up. We should be, take those 2 days out. Let's get it up for Wednesday.
And it's not even, it's even worse than that, because they don't just think that you work on those days or like every day. they want to treat it like that when it suits them, but then it's just a hobby when it suits them as well.
Yeah.
Like,
It's like, oh, we'll pay you in 30 working days.
yeah.
Like the weekends won't count for us, but like for you, no, we need it. We need it, including all of that.
I think that's something I'd really like to see change, because service providers will get paid before they, like, let's say a brand calls you for an activation that they have a little spot and it's on a Saturday, right? They want you to film some Instagram content. Those are the deliverables, use the hashtags, everything. The service providers are going to get paid before that day. Everyone that's bringing the tent, everyone that's doing the DJ is going to get paid that day. He might get paid in advance a little. The only people that are not paid on that day and that are paid 30, 60 days, I've had 6 months. I've had people getting paid 6 months later, are content creators.
Yeah.
Content creators, in my opinion, are service providers as well.
Yeah. If you're using that content to promote your brand, generate sales, that's providing a service.
A service.
Yeah.
That should get paid immediate.
Yeah.
It's so frustrating, that topic.
Definitely agree. What do you do deposits? If like you're working with a brand, would you ask them for like a 50% deposit before you start working with them?
I would, but it doesn't even matter because they have the control and they've come under such short...
Yeah, because they can be like, no, anyway, let's carry on.
Because you didn't know about it before Friday?
Yeah.
The event was like, you didn't know about it before.
Yeah.
So it was just coming to you and like...
Do you find that you have more negotiating power though when it comes to your rates if they're coming at short notice? Because you can be like, oh, you need this, you need me, clearly, if you're coming with this short notice, therefore pay me a bit more. Like if you have to like complete your work in a faster time than usual, do you add onto your rate because of that?
Okay, my answer is a bit complicated. And I would say I feel like that. I feel like since, this is what I feel, but the reality is different. I feel like since it's short notice, I could maybe work a better deal here, Yeah. And I'll say it. I'll try and bring it in the conversation. Again, like right now, the power split, as you know, between brands and the creators is like 99-1.
Yeah.
So they have like, they'll tell you, no man, we can't go above this budget. That's what we have for you.
I feel like you have more power than you think because the brand is coming to you on short notice and they need you. Without you, what content do they have? They're going to go to someone else with even less time. So the power is actually in your hands, but they make us feel like it's not.
Oh.
Because you can be like, yeah, I can do this, but it's going to cost you this much. They're like, oh, I don't know about that. Okay, bye. And then they're like, no, sorry. Okay, fine. Do you get me? It's they want to make you feel like they are in control, but at the end of the day, you're the one making the content. They're not making it.
How would you structure that? Let's say I come to you with that sort of short notice. What would you say?
I'd say this is definitely possible. Is there any way to get more time? If they come back and say no, I'm like, okay, great. This is my rate, considering that it's a very tight turnaround. If we were to have more time, I could do it for this.
And you're willing to walk away?
100%.
You're willing to walk away?
Yeah, it's stressful. Otherwise, it's not going to be good. But obviously, it depends on your situation. If you need the money, of course, you kind of don't have to. It really depends. But at the same time, if you're so confident and you really like stay so firm, more often than not, the brand will come crawling back because they do need you. There's a reason they came to you in the first place with short notice. But also, otherwise they'd come with months and months in advance. It depends on the time. If they've got tons of time in advance before a campaign and they can find someone else, fine. But even if they are finding someone else, they're not finding you. So they've come to you for a reason. It just depends on how much they're also willing to budge. But when it comes to negotiating, which we'll get on to later, some very interesting stories. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, let's jump into segment 3, the creator and the strategy. What are some challenges you face as a creator? We kind of touched on it, but like, what else do you face?
Some challenges I face as a creator is, finding a way to make content frequently without sacrificing the quality.
Ooh. Have you found that way?
No.
Yeah, I don't know if there is a way to do that because I feel like to get quality, it takes time. So you can't really have quantity and quality coexisting in the way that you might want the quality to be, unless you're outsourcing, you have a team and all of that
Nah,
stuff.
that's what I was gonna say. Brilliant. If you're thinking about it as you, because it's just me now.
Yeah.
I have a videographer, but it's just me. And when it's just you formulating the ideas, production, editing, you could only scale so far.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna post one video a month.
Yeah.
On YouTube, but then your audience doesn't care. They're still gonna come, bro.
Yeah.
You're not walking. Being a creator is so funny. You're judged based off of your output, but that output, your output's different from the audience's output.
Yeah.
Because they got one video in 2 months.
Yeah.
But you've been editing and working and the entire month, no breaks.
Yeah.
So
you don't see the behind the scenes. So
yeah.
No one's gonna know how hard you've worked on something. They're not gonna care at the end of the day. So
all they care about, they don't even care about the video you just posted.
No.
They care about when the next video is.
Yes. It's like, oh, thanks for this. Anyway, so next time, yeah. I think it's just because we are in this age of like overconsumption. So we don't really stop to sit on something. I think that's why I really love the like film and TV industry a lot. It's like someone will produce a film, someone will direct a film, and you won't hear from them for another year, for another 2 years.
Look at
It's
James Cameron.
Yeah, exactly. Where is he? But like he's working, he's cooking behind the scenes. And I feel like we don't have that in the creator industry because it's like you put something out and you're immediately having to be working on the next thing. We don't let anything simmer. And I feel like we see that in the music industry nowadays. Like people don't really make long form albums as much anymore. Even
conceptual.
TV. Yeah, it's EPs, it's quick like singles. Even with the TV industry, people are making mini series, limited series, 8 episodes. I want 22 episodes. Take 3-4 months in between seasons to film. Like you don't need to, but to be honest, they're even taking years in between limited series.
Why do they have that grace?
I don't understand. So yeah, it's just we're in this age of like everything needs to be super short, super snappy, and then also like super quick.
What did you say is an issue you face as a creator?
What issues I face? I think one of mine would be like the comparison aspect with other creators, because I tend to follow majority of the people I follow are people I look up to and I'm inspired by, and I'm always like, why can't I be that? Or like, how do I don't know. I just feel like it's an internal battle of me never thinking my stuff is good enough to be taken seriously. So like I think it's just like a, not imposter syndrome, but like I don't feel like I don't feel like my stuff is worthy.
And this is such a big issue when your job as a because you're an artist essentially. This is what happens when your results as an artist are based off of analytics.
Yeah.
Because there's a reason you're following a lot of us creators, and they're most likely going to have bigger numbers than you, and you're wondering why you don't get those numbers. Maybe it's the way she talks.
It's not really the numbers thing. It's more just like they are creating such amazing stuff. I want to also be able to create amazing things. And obviously, everyone is different. Everyone's creating different things. Everyone makes people feel different ways. It's not like this is obviously like amazing production quality, therefore it's better. It might make someone else feel completely different. And
True.
Someone else's video, do you know what I mean? It's not about necessarily the technical side of things, more like over the emotional side of things. But in my mind, I'm like, I don't see what people could potentially be feeling from my work, or like if it even is like of great technical value. So it's like, it's just, I'm very like, not perfectionist, but like I'm never one to like sit and smell the roses. I'm always like, okay, how can I be better? How can I be better?
So have you seen some comments that have at least reinforced your art, like that have said, "Oh, this is very
like, your stuff's great," and I'm like, thanks, but like it could be better. That's like how my mind works.
The pursuit of more.
Yeah, or just the pursuit of being better. Like I constantly want to be improving. One of my main fears is just being stuck intellectually. Like I want to be like a student of life, if you will.
Let me take a wild guess. You can't watch your let's say like the 10th last video you just posted. Could you watch it?
For what reason? Like what?
Like
why am I watching
could you watch it and be like, oh, this is a really good video, good quality?
It depends if it's good.
Really?
Yeah, like if I'm looking for constructive criticism, I'll find it. But if I'm just like, oh yeah, let me just watch my stuff to enjoy it, I can do that too.
I can't.
Why not?
It's the same thing. Like, I want to keep getting better and better, and like, I can't even watch like the last video.
Yeah.
Like the one before it, I can't even, like 2 videos away, I can't watch because it's so far removed from where, even if I just posted it like last week.
Yeah, no, for
You see
YouTube it's
errors.
completely different though.
Yeah.
YouTube, I can't remember I would not watch a YouTube video that I posted yesterday. But like maybe if it was like a travel video that I posted a year ago, I'd watch it for the nostalgia. But like any video that I'm just posting on a weekly basis, I will never watch those. But short form content is different because
Short form is different.
Yeah, but yeah, the long form YouTube videos, I do not watch those. Because I instantly would be like, why did I edit that? Why did I do that?
Why? Why is that?
I don't know. I think I feel like we hold more pressure with the long form content because it's like, this is art. This is like because people now call YouTube videos like films, like people this isn't a film, this is a vlog. Like this isn't a film. But I feel this like pressure for it to be like, oh, this needs to be Scorsese level, you know?
Have you watched Casey Neistat?
Yeah, I love Casey. He was like one of the biggest reasons I got into making YouTube videos.
Really?
Loved his videos, loved New York, loved that whole like travel vlog.
Emma Chamberlain.
Yeah, I like Emma Chamberlain's like her vibe. She's like a cool girl, isn't it?
I get that from you.
Emma Chamberlain vibes. I wish. No, she's like, yeah, I like the fact that she's like diversified her like creator status and become like an entrepreneur with like Chamberlain Coffee and stuff like that. I think I respect her more for those other things that she's done and how she's managed to just like diversify and like take over the creator space in that way. She's a businesswoman at the end of the day.
I can't wait to see where we take that.
Yeah, I feel like our demographic of creators, like African creators as well, like I feel like we have so much potential. I'm so excited. I would love, actually, let me not say too much. Sometimes I just have very delusional dreams and, it's best to keep them to myself.
I think it's a young market. Who knows?
Yeah. But anyway, what are some of your techniques for growing and engaging with your audience?
Growing and engaging with the audience. I feel like those are 2 different things. Yeah. So I'll answer both of them. Mm-hmm. For growing the audience, I would say that's just like, I call this feeding the top of the funnel. You have to like increase the top of the funnel. So you have to make more, I try and make more broad scoping ideas. Okay. Like something that's like fast food. I like using that example. Like I tried all fast food in Kenya. Mm-hmm. That's something a lot of people would watch, right? Yeah.
That was actually the first video I watched of yours. Because I was like, oh yeah, perfect.
Thank you.
So the strategy works.
Now you're at the top of the funnel. Yeah. So when you increase the top of the funnel, let's say 500,000 people watch, you're going to get like 100 that trickle down to like the next videos. It's going to trickle down until you get like they call them true fans. Yeah. I don't know if you heard about this. They call them true fans, like people that would ride and die, that really love your content, that would support anything you did. So that's how I like to grow the audience. I like to grow it in that aspect. And I learned that from music. That's basically like one of my friends who's a musician told me that's how they grow. That's how you become Burna Boy. You start from Nigeria, get the true fans there, go to SA, spend a year. He spent a year in SA like that. Wow. And then you just move around and like...
Interesting.
So eventually you end up with like 1,000 true fans.
Yeah.
So...
Wow.
And then engaging with the audience, I'd say talking to the audience in videos really helps. Like addressing something, like talking to them and if you could tell them to do something, like comment down below about what you think about this. Should I do this or this? What do you think about this? I think that's a really good way to engage with the audience. Obviously, like I'm more focused on YouTube. So on Instagram, again, you'd have to talk to them and something that would relate to them, that would prompt them to reply or respond. Also, you could go the more nuclear route and just be super polarizing. If you're very polarizing, people are gonna engage anyway. So you're gonna engage with an audience more.
Whether it's your audience
Or yes.
is a different question. Yeah.
How
okay.
would you grow and engage your audience?
That's very interesting. I'll answer engage first because I feel like I have more to say about that. I feel like I try to keep my audience in some sort of ecosystem because I am on like Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Pinterest. I focus mainly on like bringing engagement from Instagram because I don't know, I feel like people are more engaged on there. So like if I'm uploading a YouTube video, I'll put up a poll saying, help me choose a thumbnail, for example. So people already like psychologically feel like they've had some part to play and they're more likely to go watch the video because they're like, oh, let me see what thumbnail she chose, for example. So I'd say that is like my main way.
I've seen you do this.
Yeah.
On your YouTube, I've seen you tell them to follow on Instagram.
On Instagram, yeah, like just to
keep them in
the ecosystem going because sometimes it's like slightly different content on each platform, for example. Obviously, like reply to comments as much as possible. I'm really bad with DMs, so that's one thing I need to do more. Not that I have like tons, but I just get overwhelmed. But when it comes to growing, I actually don't feel like I focus too much on growing my audience as much now because I feel like engagement is more of a like factor that people are looking for when it comes to creating, being a business. But if I were to, it's just like obviously try to post as consistently as possible, but sometimes life gets in the way and that's not possible. So yeah, I don't really use... Thing is, I feel like I know strategies for growing. Like,
because you literally studied this.
I did a degree in digital marketing, so I'm like, I know what I could and should be doing, but I feel like I value the creative process more than being like super analytical and checking those sorts of things for myself. I'd much rather do that for other people. But yeah, so I don't really like focus too much on like growing my numbers. It's more just like engaging with the audience I already have and the creative process, I guess.
I feel like that's even more fulfilling, number one.
It's less stressful for sure.
Less stressful.
Because like as a black girl in England, it's like just don't even... If we stress too much about like, oh, why is this... But like, yeah. It's like we will never sleep or rest. So there's just no point in even stressing about it. You could do the exact... You know what gets me is I would love to just be like a bare minimum influencer. Like I would love to just be able to like get in front of the camera and be like, hey guys, just like I saw a video the other day, I won't name names, but a girl was like eating pasta and some of it fell out of her mouth. And she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so silly. And it got like 36,000 likes. And
what?
Yeah, I was like, if only... If only, because that could feed a family. That could get a lot of brand deals. But no, like I think if we stress too much about that within the I can't obviously speak for any other demographic, but within our demographic, there's just we won't rest.
Also, I'd say that there's a lot of content out on the internet. Right? I read how many billion hours are uploaded on TikTok every day. You can't exactly target you can't just like cast an empty net.
Yeah, and especially because every app is different. Every app values different things.
And people's attention is just getting shorter and shorter.
Exactly.
So if you're not targeting, like if you're not taking care of your audience, and you're worried about growing. That's
why I was talking about like Instagram as an engagement platform, because I feel like TikTok's main focus is discoverability. So you'll find a lot of new people coming to your TikTok, but they won't necessarily stay. It's like you follow someone and all of a sudden you never see their videos again. I feel like I have to go to my friends tab.
Yeah, the friends.
Or my following tab to specifically see people who I follow. But otherwise they're never pushed to you on your FYP. But Instagram, it's like, well, obviously they had their chronological feed, but now it's like the explore page is the explore page, but when you're scrolling, it's people you actually like and are engaging with. And then YouTube, you're seeing those people on your homepage, you're choosing to spend 10, 20, 30 minutes with them. They're like the hardcore, super engaged, very like brand friendly audience, So it's just like, if we stress too much about like, oh, I need to grow my TikTok to this, I need to grow we're just gonna be stressed. Because TikTok's not like caring about your following, they just want more people on the app and more people seeing this one video that's going viral. So that's what I think.
What is your creative process when receiving a brief and working with a brand?
Okay. I tend to be very logistical about things when working with brands. So I will make like a PDF, I'll present them with a document. It'll have my voiceover script at the top. On the side, it will have any creative notes like, oh, I'm filming this in 4K this. This is gonna be 30 seconds to 1 minute long. This is a brief shot list. And then it will have a mini mood board there as well. And then any other notes like locations. And then if it's like, oh, seeing as you're this brand, I'm gonna make sure to not include this, this, and this. Just so that everything is on the table. Send that to them.
Wait, this is if you receive a brief?
Yeah, when they're like, hey, we would love to make a video, this is what we're looking for. Then I'd be like, great, this is my idea.
Wow.
Not like too early though. Sometimes I've learned to not put in too much effort because sometimes brands will be like, oh, but we don't actually have a budget. I'm like, so I've done this work and you don't have a budget. Now where do we go from here? Because I've spent an hour doing a concept.
That's something that's so common. Could you tell us how much? Could you tell us if you're there? But we don't have a budget.
Yeah, like, so what do you expect me to do with that? But yeah, depending on the budget as well, the concept will be different. So if it's like they're paying well, I'm going to produce something great. If they're paying okay, it'll still be good, but it's not going to be as the same standard of something that's going to be amazing. Because then when it comes to working with future brands as well, I could be like, for this price, this is the sort of content you can get. But if you pay more, you can get something like this. So it's like, yeah, it's important to like distinguish between.
Okay, so what about the creative process? Like, okay, now you've sent that back to them.
I've sent that back to them. They've been like, this is great. I'm like, cool, I'll start shooting, then I edit. Most of the time I record the voiceover before I edit because that saves a lot of time if it's like short form stuff.
What?
Yeah. So because I've already got the script there, I just need to record the voiceover and then edit the rough cut to the voiceover.
You'll do it even before you shoot?
Sometimes I'll do the voiceover first, yeah. Because it's the script's there.
That's so interesting.
Because if I'm like, this needs to be 30 seconds long, I've recorded the voiceover to 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Why am I wasting time with half an hour in the timeline? If I can just like quickly, I'm like, oh, okay, so in this section I said, so now I'm pouring myself a glass of water. I get all the clips of me pouring water, fit it to that section.
Oh, okay. But you already have the content.
Yeah. Like, it depends. I could have the voiceover first, I could have the content first. It doesn't really matter. Like, that doesn't really matter.
Interesting.
So yeah, I shoot that, then I send it off. Usually they won't ask for a revision, but if they do, I do a revision and then send it off. But then you should also have a clause saying how many revisions, because some brands can be like, hey, could you? No. Because I sent you a concept, you should have told me what no in the concept. Very detailed.
That's the most brutal thing. I pray to God I never get a revision request.
Exactly. Like if you're detailed in pre-production, you don't need to be as all over the place.
How many revisions will you allow for?
Like two max. Because then after two, it's like, what am I not getting? You've asked for what you want. Why should I not be able to do that to a satisfactory level? You know? Unless you're now changing your mind again, which is not... You should have thought about that when I gave you the concept.
It's actually quite smart.
Yeah. That, like, I spend a lot of time on pre-production to just save me time when doing actual production and post-production.
Because this isn't the only thing you're doing. You have to make content for yourself. And
yeah, the workflow needs to be as, like...
Smooth
as possible. Yeah. So yeah, that's my process. And then, obviously, get paid. What about you?
I'd say my creative process when I receive a brief from a brand would be to first get an idea. I won't do the whole presentation thing.
That's fine.
I'll get an idea that I think would work for that, and then I'll call them on the phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll call whoever is at the most high-level person I could reach. Call them on the phone, give them the idea, and then get their word from it, and then I'll just do it.
Okay, fair enough.
I'll just do it and then send it to everyone, and hopefully they like it. Usually they do. I haven't yet. If I'm ever asked to do a revision, and I might collapse.
Really? Yeah.
It takes me so long to do.
Especially if they're like, hey, could you change the music? No. Because I cut to the time. So I can't change the music. Yeah.
That's something that most people wouldn't understand.
Yeah.
I cut to the beat.
Cut to the beat. Now I have to change. I have to start afresh. But yeah, no, that's really great that you've never had revisions. That's impressive. Yeah, of course.
What?
What do you mean?
What did they ask you to do?
Some things are small, like, hey, because to be fair, like when working with like financial brands, I've worked with a few banks, and they have to be very strategic in the way they deliver a message so that it's not giving people financial advice or misleading
Yes,
someone.
yes.
So for example, if I'm trying not to be too specific about financial advice, but if I were to be like, oh, I save money using a pot, this is really great. Instead of me saying like, you can definitely save money this way, it's like, if you use a pot, you may be able to save some money. So just not giving too definite of an outcome.
Yes.
But yeah, like just small stuff like that. It's never been like reshoot. Just like, hey, change the voiceover, or can you like change the text here or something like that.
Okay. So yeah, that's how I do my creative process, and yeah.
So what I want you to do is talk us through your creative process from concept to execution on this brief. So the aim is an everyday fashion brand has a large range of clothes with pockets and wants creators who can style their key pieces. So for example, chinos or jeans. And they want you to highlight why you love the pockets so much. They want to channel summer vibes and get inspired to put your own style on it for a 30 second to 1 minute video. And some examples could be like why I love pockets. You always have your like skincare ready to hide fidgety hands. Your phone is your life, or your wallet or whatever, and it's in your pocket. The deliverables they want is one short form video, 60 days boosting access on Instagram, and then one story set of like 2 to 3 frames. And then obviously for a bonus, what would your rate be for this? And you have 60 seconds starting now.
I would try and show how much I really enjoy the product, the clothing and the pockets, in a way that's relatable to me. I would also, I think that's how I do it.
What would that be? What is relatable to you? What would the video be?
Maybe an Instagram video. I'd set the camera up, good lighting. I'd have myself model in the pants. I wouldn't try and do like a sketch, since it's clothing. I try and do a very simple video that is relatable to me. Maybe something I do to make it a bit more unique is try and make the voiceover funny.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe try and make a voiceover funny, and then I think it has to be my video.
Okay.
I think I'd post their stories.
What would you put in the stories?
I just put myself modeling in the pants.
With any link clicks or?
I mean, if you're asking for like marketing specifics?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I also didn't mention the call to action for the video.
What would the call to action be?
Okay. I would have a video modeling in the pants, telling people how great the pants are, right? With a call to action to purchase from this store, with the link in the bio. I'd have the same link in my Instagram. I'd take pictures, maybe similar setting. Pictures, post on Instagram stories with the link to the store. This is as much as I can come up on short notice. Yeah.
Would you say, how long on average does it take you to come up with an idea if a brand gives you?
So long.
Okay, interesting.
So long. And I'll scrap like 3 ideas.
Okay.
Before
Fair enough.
Talk us through your creative process from concept to execution on one of these briefs in 60 seconds. This is for a streaming service, okay? Their aim would be to encourage people to start using their streaming service to get access to all their favorite shows in one place, highlighting features such as voice search and smart recommendations, okay? Like a concept example would be a movie night with friends where no one can decide what to watch, or you're looking for a show and you don't know what platform it's on, okay? With voice search.
Okay.
The deliverables would be one video, sharing both on Instagram and TikTok, one story set, that's 3 slides. Yeah, and also what would your rate be for this?
Okay, I'd probably go with the movie night angle with friends. I'd probably make it a sketch of some sort. So it'd be like me and a friend or a few friends being like, oh, we should definitely watch Gossip Girl tonight. And they're like, no, like we always watch this, like let's try something else. So utilizing the smart recommendations, I'm like, okay, let's let streaming service decide. And we get the smart recommendations from there. Could even incorporate the voice search potentially being like, hey, what do you recommend we watch if we like Gossip Girl or if we like The Vampire Diaries? And then I'd probably shoot it a bit more like cinematically, so it's like a mini TV show because I quite like that sort of content. So yeah, that would be my concept. In terms of how much I would charge for Instagram and TikTok, because it's a video and because it's like a high quality video, I'm assuming like I'm gonna go for like 45 seconds. I'd say maybe around £2,000 for both. I'd say like around £2,000 for the TikTok. And then I'd add on maybe, because I'm just like reposting it to Instagram, not making a fresh video, maybe add on like another £500 for that. So 2.5K. If this was like a bit more like less production and I just made it a bit more low res, I'd be like maybe between like 1.5 and 2. But for the stories, I'd do maybe between 150 for each slide. So like £450 for 3 slides. So in total, maybe around like £3,000.
I think that's a fair deal. I think where I got the most excited was when you mentioned the stories, how much those would cost.
Yeah.
I think most people don't, most brands come up with like, they come to you thinking, they come to you saying that story posts, like those little posts in your story, should just be like add-ons, like value adds.
The thing is with stories, that's where your most engaged audience is. Like the people who are watching your stories and are clicking those links are the ones who are most likely going to convert into, people who are going to purchase from that brand.
Because you could have 100,000 followers, but your stories only get like 2,000 views.
Yeah, that's the engagement.
Yes.
So they probably should be worth more, but at the moment within the industry, I don't think they are. But they are definitely worth something. So yeah, I think that's a fairish rate. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's fair.
Okay.
I'm sorry I didn't give mine.
Oh yeah, what would yours be?
For the video, Instagram video, was I to repost it on TikTok?
No, but just 60 days boosting. So they want usage rights, paid usage rights.
Okay. For the video alone, I do it at maybe just like a simple video like that. I do it at maybe 1,500. 1,500 access to the boosting. I'd add maybe another 60 days is wild.
Right.
I would say we'd go back and forth on that, I'm sure, but maybe I'd say 1,000. I'd say 1,000 negotiable. And then the stories, how many was I to post?
3.
Another $100 for each story.
Okay.
That'd be 300 plus the 1,000 plus the 1,500. It'll be 2,528.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I feel like your rates should be higher though.
For that concept?
Yeah. Because they're not like I know we said because it's like a different concept, but at the end of the day, your audience is still of value. So you still need to factor your audience in, not just the effort you're putting into the video. And like, do you get me?
Quite smartly put.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. Feel validated.
I'm actually learning a lot today.
Thank you.
How to structure the clauses in.
I'm a lawyer, apparently. No, but yeah, I feel like they should be higher.
Okay, so what would you say a fair rate would be?
For you, me? For that? What's your follow count on Instagram?
35K.
And what's your engagement rate on average?
I don't know my engagement rate.
Okay, that's fine. 35K. Like, I would definitely say, like, the video shouldn't be less than, like, 2,000 minimum. But, like, I don't know. Like, I'd go as far as to say 2.5 minimum. Absolute minimum. Yeah. And your audience seems very engaged, so probably even more than that. It's, like, from the outside, it looks like you've got more engagement than the average creator. So you could charge even more for that. But I'm not I don't write rate cards. So, but it should definitely be more.
Okay.
100%, at least double what mine are.
What?
Yeah, because your engagement is much better, and you've got more followers. So. Logically.
So logically, I should be charging something like 5.
Yeah, for all of that, like especially the 60 days boosting, because not only is it 60 days boosting for just the video, it's for the audience as well, and the audience that they could reach based on your base audience, and then all of that. So yeah, I'd say much closer to 5K than 2K.
Okay, fair. Something I didn't really rate too much was the boosting. I think a lot of people don't know what that means
Yeah.
for them and the brand. That gives them access to promote that content for the 60 days.
Yeah, and put so much money behind it.
Yes.
So it's worth a lot, which I will get onto later again.
Okay.
But yeah, it's worth so much. So definitely. If there's ever boosting, paid usage, just know that you should be getting paid
As well.
more for that.
Okay.
Organic usage, I'm not really sure, but still, there's like you're still using it to generate sales.
What about the partnering, the collaborating on Instagram?
I actually don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's like a mutually beneficial thing, obviously, but because they still want to use your content on their platform to generate, like it's still, they're asking for extra.
Yeah, they should
So it's still, it's still extra.
I think we should be charging for that too.
You should be charging for everything. I feel like brands have a way of finding a way to get free
Could
things.
you just
free little addons.
Yeah, we're gonna could you just throw in some stories, and also we're gonna ask you for a request to put in our page as well.
Could we own could you give us the raw files? Like, yeah, we should be charging for everything. I hope people aren't giving away raw footage though. I've had brands ask
For the raw footage?
I've had a brand be like, hey, we'd love for you to make like a day in the life, but like just film the raw footage and give us all the raw footage. We'll edit it. I was like, I'll edit it for you. You don't even need to pay me extra. I'll edit it. You're not getting my raw files.
That sounds a little shady.
Really, really shady.
Again, people don't know what raw footage could look like.
You could editing is so powerful.
Yes.
You could manipulate anything. Like I could say, oh, I'm really having a good time today. And then later on in the video, just say a few different other words.
Oh, it's today.
Cut it together in a voiceover. Boom, I'm saying something completely different.
I agree.
There's just no way you're getting raw files.
And then the standard of quality, you don't know how they're going to make it look.
Exactly.
The sound.
Yeah. Like I've even had just brands like put a different like text font over my video. I'm like, this isn't my brand. But fair enough, it was for their brand. So I was like, that's fine, that's your brand. But like this wouldn't be something I would share. That's fine.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Shall we go back to segment 3?
We should.
Okay.
Let me ask you, what has been your experience when it comes to collaborating with brands? Your overall experience?
It's been good. The way I said that, it's been good. No, it's been great because for the amount of work I've put in, the money's been really good. The only frustrations I have is with payment takes a while, and that's it.
Okay.
Creative freedom, I really love that. All the brands I've worked with give me creative freedom. They don't really ask for too much. You know, like a lot of brands now are interested in Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah.
You know, I want to partner more with YouTube brands because that's where I'm trying to grow that platform.
Yeah.
But you told me to do Instagram video, TikTok video for like some money. I'm more than happy to do that. Let me not.
No, what were you gonna say?
I don't know if I could actually say this on camera, but like agencies are a thing.
Agencies are a thing. Yeah, agencies do be doing their thing. But again, I've got a story later on for one of the questions where we can get into the agencies. I feel like, just to touch on the agencies though, I feel like agencies give brands a bad rep because oftentimes as creators, we think we're dealing with the brand, especially if you've got like management, for example, you don't know where the deal has come from. And it's like the agency has just like taken 60% of the budget and, you know, you're not seeing what the brand is wanting to pay you, for example. But, yeah, the agencies... Some agencies are great though. Like it just depends.
I feel like agencies are like they're necessary.
100%
because
necessary.
It's like a middleman between the big brand and then you,
Exactly.
right? It makes sense.
It makes a lot of sense.
But then when you factor in power dynamics and like things like that.
Yeah. Some agencies are great because they value creators and they value the work that creators do. And then other agencies, you can tell that they're not creator first and they...
It's like a job.
Yeah, it's like more like, I don't know. Yeah, it's different. I don't know. But yeah, my experience has been also the same. Like I love working with brands that allow me to just be myself, create. I love getting to know the faces behind the brands. It's overall been great. The only thing that's annoying is like delayed payments. And sometimes when brands don't really see the value in you as a creator and they think like you don't deserve to be paid what you're worth, for example.
Have you gotten that before?
Oh yeah, all the time.
What did they say?
Like I've had campaigns where they're like, oh, but like so-and-so is being paid this, so like we don't feel like you should be paid more or something. I'm like, you should pay so-and-so more as well, actually. But yeah.
But would you still work with them?
If they
after that sounds
budge,
very disrespectful.
If they budge,
but that sounds very disrespectful.
Most of the time I'll go back and say, well, I'm not, no. And then they come back and say, okay, what about this? I'm like, no. Okay, what about that? No. Okay, what about this? Okay, fine.
You know, something that I've been thinking about recently is I feel like as a creator, the most ideal situation should be where you work with brands that you believe in.
Yes.
And I remember back in the day when social media just began, my favorite YouTubers, they'd only work with brands that they like.
They really use, like, and really believe in, yeah.
Like whether it's like a coffee company that's sponsoring the entire year of that YouTubers, they'd only work with them because they believe in them. Yeah. But now it almost feels like, because everything is just being pushed and you need to make money as a creator, it feels like we're not really working with brands that we want to.
I see that a lot. I feel like me personally, I'm at a point where I can be a bit more selective with the brands I work with. So I will not promote something that I don't agree with. If it doesn't align with my morals and ethics, definitely not. I don't care how big of a check it is. But you see that a lot, especially because of, as you were saying, the rate at which these brand deals come out. But the only time I will fight with a brand, or not fight, but like go back and forth, if it's because I really like the brand, I want to work with them. But at the same time, I'm not going to compromise my value and my worth just for the sake of working with a certain brand that I like. So that's when I'll go back and forth and be like, no, I'm not doing that. But like, if it was a brand that I'm like, I didn't even really want to do this, like I'll just say no. So, we'll see. And if they come back, then it's like, if I don't really, really want to do this, I'll probably charge more and just, go from there.
The morals thing is a very big one. I respect creators that are willing to turn down. I haven't had the opportunity to where something has been presented to me to where it's such a big check, but I don't align with the morals. I haven't really had that.
No, I would say I've had things like where it's been a check where I'm like, this could defo pay like all my bills, but I'll say no. Because it's just like, especially when it's that big of an internal moral conflict where, I don't want to get like political or anything, but like when it's something where it's like there are people suffering and this brand is like really like again, like really for their suffering, why am I now going to stand on the side of the brand that it just completely goes against my morals?
I agree. Also, the one that I see commonly that I think I would like people to think a bit more about is when it has the potential to hurt your to cause damage to your following.
Yeah.
For example, like
your
is it like betting?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there's a good way to put it, right? But at the end of the day, like, people could lose money with this.
And also like your audience, you've built an audience that trusts you. And then for you to have that impact and to be promoting something you don't believe in, like you're now impacting other people who, with a view you don't agree with, and like that could cause a lot of harm, more harm than good, and you don't even agree with it. So it's like, what's the point, So, but obviously it's coming from a very privileged place. Like there are creators who, sometimes it's like, well, you need to make rent, and I guess you take on a brand deal that maybe you're promoting a skincare product you haven't used before. I'm not talking like huge things where it's like this goes against my morals, but obviously there are like small things where it's like, oh, I've literally never used this brand, but like let me try it for a bit and promote that.
I agree. And sometimes it goes back to what you just said. Sometimes you just need to pay your rent.
Yeah. And you can still be honest in those processes. Like for example, if I'm given a brand where it's like a skincare product that I've never used, in the content I'll frame it as if I'm trying it for the first time. Let's try it together. These are my initial thoughts.
You could still be honest within.
Like, oh, I've thought about, like, let me incorporate this into my skin routine. Like, let me tell you what I think about my first impressions. I wouldn't be like, oh, this is my favorite
I've been
product.
using it.
Yeah, like I've been using this for months, guys. I'd just be like, oh, let's try this together for the first time. At least you're still being authentic.
True.
Well, like there's ways around it. I think people just sometimes may be lazy to think of those ways.
Are you with management or are you an independent creator?
I'm personally with management. What about you?
Ooh, I'm an independent creator
How are you finding that?
that would like to have management. Someday.
Interesting. Yeah, I've been with management for about a year. I've changed management, but all in all, maybe just like over a year.
What is management? What do they do for you? Because I really don't know.
So they will, if they've got like internal clients that they work with on a regular basis, they can pitch me to work on any upcoming campaigns. They'll do any negotiating on my behalf if a brand reaches out to my inbox. They'll do my invoices. So if like I've worked with a brand, they'll draw up an invoice, send it to the brand. They reply to my emails, monitor any PR. So if like a brand wants to send a gift, if I've got any events, they'll like tell me when those are, or like, yeah, just like the day-to-day management, no pun intended, of like my inbox and the like logistical side of being a creator.
The business side, huh? What about the creative side?
My management do love to we do strategy meetings, so we'll like go through what ideas are working at the moment. If they've got other ideas for me, they'll like, oh, what about doing this and stuff. So yeah, they can definitely help with the creative side as well. But some managements don't, some do. Yeah, I like it that way because obviously they can see from an outside perspective and give like constructive criticism that I might not be able to see. So yeah, but like I know that other creators have problems with constructive criticism sometimes if you're like really precious about your quote unquote art. But as we discussed earlier, I personally would love to I'd much rather receive constructive criticism than just like, this is great.
Yes.
So yeah, it just depends on like what you value from a management like team.
I think I'd like the same.
Yeah.
If I were to have a manager, it'd be to definitely get more deals, structure those, how we respond to them, how we reach out to them. Because I feel like as a creator that's independent, I have so many ideas, but so little time to reach out to these brands and pitch to all of them.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
I really be pitching, but like following up, because these brands also have like a lot of business, following up on how far with this project, are you guys even interested?
Yeah.
Da, da, da.
Yeah, it's definitely a great like weight off of your shoulders on that like admin side of things. They do take a percentage, of course, of your earnings, but I think it's a worthwhile like value exchange because your time is just as valuable, of course.
I agree. With what would be a decent enough percentage of that? Because I've heard 20%.
Yeah, my management takes 20%. My management before was 30%, but it was non-exclusive. So
okay. So the deals that they got for you,
they
is that what you're
took
saying?
30%, but the deals I got for myself, they didn't.
wouldn't.
But now it's 20% and it's exclusive. So I'm exclusively signed with my management. Shout out DDA.
Hey, but would you? Let's say someone reached out to you, then you tell them to go to the management.
Yeah, because
Okay.
at the same time, I don't want to deal with the back and forth of doing
Yes.
it. So I completely don't mind being exclusive because I wouldn't want to be like, hey, yeah, these are my rates. Oh no, could we do this? Like I don't want that back and forth. So I'm more than happy if a brand reaches out to me for me to just be like, yeah, sure, email my manager. Here's the email.
How sure could you be as a creator that these managers have not? I know they have your best interest at heart, but focused on your growth. Because sometimes it's like if it's like a management agency, they have like so many creators. Some are bigger, some are smaller.
Yeah.
How do you know there's someone seated there in the office worried about how much we're making?
Well, with my management, like the individual talent managers only have like 3 to 4 creators that they manage at one time max. Like 4 is on the top end, so 3 max. And they really make it clear when they were reaching out that they knew my content, and we had meetings about my goals as a content creator. Like, where do you want to move with your content? What sort of content are you enjoying at the moment? What do you not enjoy? Like, what are the sorts of brands you would like to work with? What are the brands you would definitely not want to work with? And they made it clear from the jump that they were interested in like my creative process and like me as a creator, instead of just like, we want commission, because they don't get like commission from my deals, for example. It goes to the company. It's not going to the individual talent manager. So you know that they're just doing their job because they like you as a creator, not because they've got a cheeky 5% coming in.
I love that.
I don't
Sounds
know.
beautiful.
Like, some managements aren't the same. So it's just about like you doing your research, I guess, and like signing with a management that you believe in, and also vice versa.
They reached out to you?
Yeah, they did.
How would I go about getting a manager if I don't have a manager and no one's reaching out?
I would say like follow talent managers on social media and like maybe just reach out to them, be like, hey, I'm looking to be represented. If you ever have space on your roster, would love to chat, you know?
Brilliant.
Thank you.
I needed to hear this today.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you as well. I'm glad.
Because I've been wondering about that. I was just going to put in my YouTube video. I'm like, bro, guys, whoever's watching this, I need a manager.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that too.
Really?
A cold.
But the problem with
mass
that,
email.
The problem with that is, again, you kind of reach out to everyone.
You don't want to reach out to everyone. You want it to be personalized.
Yeah.
You want to find a management that you know that you like. Because also the management I was with before, they were representing like the fast fashion girlies, and that's very much an industry that I would never want to be a part of anymore. Because I kind of started with that when I was, starting out in like university, for example. Then as I grew, my morals evolved. I learned more about the fashion industry. I was like, I kind of don't really want to like represent these like fast fashion houses that I don't align with anymore.
Yeah.
So it just didn't make sense for me to be part of an agency like that, where they're,
that's their
giving
world.
deals from like fast fashion companies. I'm like, but I don't want to promote this. So the agency I'm with now is more broad in the sense that they represent fashion creators, lifestyle creators, entertainment creators, food creators. Like it's a bit more diverse, and they have diversity on their roster. Like I'm not the only Black person. So that was also very important.
This is so beautiful. You're painting my heaven. They care about the creators. I'm surprised they asked you about what content that you wanted to do, you're not comfortable with.
Yeah. They asked me for a list of like brands I would never want to work with. Just to be like, we'll make sure to like not present these with you or not reach out to them, for example. Because obviously everyone's different. Some people love tech, some people hate tech, some people love fast fashion, some people like sustainable fashion. So it's like, it just depends on your preference. So they very much were like, we just want to make sure you are promoting things you care about, and two, are like obviously growing as a creator and like happy with your content. And it's like a regular thing, because obviously as we grow, as we evolve, all these things change as well.
I agree. And obviously you'd get a management agency management in general that is specific to your region.
Exactly, yes. Some of them are like more broad. Some are like based in London, based in New York, based in like other places in America. Like some are global agencies. Like you can be wherever. It just depends. How do you work on building creator relationships?
How do I work on building them?
Yeah.
I guess there's building and sustenance, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because it's mostly Instagram DMs. Those have worked really well for me. Reaching out to people, like them reaching out to me. There's like a nod that creators give each other, like, oh, I like your content.
Yeah.
And you can just tell that like, this is gonna be like a little friendship. Like you respect their work, they respect your work. And so you just message them on Instagram. That's how like all my Instagram friends I've met. Okay. My creator friends. So because on TikTok, you can't really DM people too much. No. It's not very functional.
No.
YouTube, there's no messaging feature. Emails people strictly for business. So Instagram DMs, and then just keep talking there, make a few jokes, yada, yada, yada. And like just sustenance, just checking on people, wishing them, that's something I excel in. I excel in checking on my friends, wishing them happy birthdays, Merry Christmas, linking if you can, just checking on their mental health is something I don't say it when I'm checking on my friends, but I talk to them like I'm like, because I am worried because there's no one that checks on people in our field, okay? Yeah. And it's such a big thing because content creation can be very taxing on your mind, your mental health, checking on your analytics, people trashing your latest piece of content, or people loving it, or it not performing well, So I try and message my friends and like, ask them like, but how are you doing? Like, how are you doing? How's the content going? What's the next plan? I think things like that I find are very thoughtful, and that's how I maintain my relationships with content creators. Yeah. How would you build?
I actually don't feel like I have like a huge network of creative friends. I feel like I have like a somewhat good like network of like acquaintances, for example. But when it comes to like building relationships with creators, I'm quite a what's the word? Like it takes a while for me to like open up to someone.
So, like generally, you don't care.
No,
I'm
not that I don't care. I'm very hesitant. Like I come with a guard up in some way, shape, or form. And I feel like in the creative industry, especially in London, it feels very transactional a lot of the time. So the friends that I do have, that I've been able to make, it's been very organic for one. So we've like met up in real life. We became friends. Like we, you know, build a relationship that way. Sometimes work together, whatever. But I don't think I have like a huge network of like friends who I'm like, yeah, I've got all these like creative friends. Like I have people that are like mutuals with who we comment on each other's stuff. But I don't know if that means like we're friends or not. I'd like to think like we've got some level above like stranger, but I don't think that's like friend level.
You wouldn't call it friends.
No, I wouldn't be like we're friends, but I'd be like we're acquainted for sure, which is fine, right?
No, that's fine.
Yeah, I feel like there's a negative connotation with the word acquaintance, but I think it's like a very normal.
I agree, and it's the way you put it's what it means to you. You're acquainted.
You're acquainted. That's like that means something.
Yeah.
We know of each other in some way, shape, or form. We might not know each other to the depths of like your closest 5 friends or whatever. Because that's the other thing. I feel like I've got a very small like circle, or like I don't even know if it's a circle, but like yeah.
I try and look at this thing like the way our parents, like people. I try and look at it because my parents work, at least they worked normal, like regular jobs, right? This year, content creation, it's such a new field in the grand scheme of things that people don't really know how to handle themselves in it. I try and see content creation as a job. Our parents had acquaintances at the workplace. They had people that they call friends. I like to use the word friends because it's just how I see it. We're all friends. We're all friends. Even people like when people recognize my videos, I just treat them as friends. We're all friends. Da, da, da. That's how I treat it, and it's obviously not better or worse. It's just how I term it. I get the transactional. I know what you mean by it feels very transactional.
I don't know if it's the same here, but like in England, sometimes it does feel like people are just like, hey, let's meet up to like shoot Instagram pictures, and then that's it. But like, whereas I prefer to be like, let's build some sort of something where I know that I'm spending my time with someone I like. You know, like it's not just about the like. I don't know. I just prefer to have conversations that don't just center around social media. And it feels like when you have those transactional relationships, you only talk about like, oh yeah, my post like it got like 10,000 likes. Oh really? Like oh my yeah. I mean like I don't know. I just would rather have like more in-depth conversations. I feel like I have one like proper like creative friend, which is Rebekah. But like everyone else, like I haven't been able to get to know on that level of depth yet. Some like I'm like I really want to, but it's like oh I'm shy, and then some it's just like you're using me, and here we are.
But to add to that, I think that obviously the bigger the city, the more people it's gonna attract that are just on like for example like in the position you're in. Most of the creators you're gonna meet are on go. Everyone's just worried about how their next video or how they're gonna, which is fine.
Yeah.
But that's the reality of
and that's fine. Which is why I'm saying like it's hard to make deep connections on a large scale. Like I'm more than fine to be well acquainted with people who are like let's just like you can have amazing working relationships with people. Not everything needs to be a deep personal relationship, you know. So yeah, that's completely fine. And then it's also, but my main thing is I don't want to spend a ton of time surrounding myself with people who I don't align with morally, ethically, like, because energy rubs off.
Yes, true.
And who you surround yourself with is just as important as like when you're spending time alone. So I just want to make sure my space is with people who are on the same mental wavelength.
And I think that's very admirable. And also a benefit to that, you knowing exactly what you want, is you're only going to attract that.
Yeah.
Everything else will repel.
Yeah, I don't see, personally, because I'm a very low maintenance friend, I don't see the benefit in having 100 friends. I'd rather have 5 friends. One, because I would not be able to keep up with 100 people and like be a good friend to them. I feel like, yeah, I'm very low maintenance. Like you could check on me once every 3 months and I'd be like, amazing. It's nice to hear from you. Like that's like a great, like to me, that's like a great relationship. Like we pick up where we left off, everything's normal. Like we don't have to speak every single day. So yeah, like I think, but if you're high maintenance and you need like one of your like love languages is like words of affirmation, quality time, when it comes to platonic relationships, you're going to need more than that. But for me, that's not the case.
You know, I was talking to someone the other day and they referred to like our space, like content creations or like the industry. We're like in the industry. They just said it in the statement and I found that so funny. I was thinking, man, this content creation thing, I think the best way to handle it, like within your lifespan, is to do it really well for a certain amount of time and then just retire after. Because this transactional, like fake, it's very, very hard to be to live in that space for anything more than 10 years.
Yeah.
I think at the end of this, I'll go crazy. I just want to retire somewhere on a beach or like a forest somewhere at like 50 and
just chill.
All my favorite creators give up after some time. Like, not give up, but they move on.
Yeah, you move on to other things.
Yeah. It's such a hard space to be in mentally.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And the older you grow, like the more you mature, it's just harder to keep up with that, you know?
Yeah, I feel like the industry is like aging backwards in a way. It doesn't age forwards in the same... Do you know what I mean? Like when it doesn't mature.
Yeah.
It's not like, oh, we're all older now, let's move... Like, it's not like that. Yeah.
That's why I think everyone... Either your audience outgrows you, or you outgrow your audience. Yeah. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot. Like when I do look at my demographics and stuff, I'm like, majority of my audience used to be people my age or younger, and now it's very much like majority older than me, which is
really
interesting. Yeah. I think it might be because of some of the things I talk about, because a lot of like some industries are more tailored to people with like more purchasing power, for example.
Like the travel.
And people with purchasing power tend to be older.
Yes.
So it's like, I think that's maybe a reason, which is also interesting when it comes to working with brands. But yeah.
That's so interesting. I've never met anyone that their audience is a bit more mature.
My main audience is like 24 to 35.
Whoa.
Yeah. But like on different platforms, it differs. Obviously, like TikTok is very much Gen Z, which I love. But I love all of it, obviously. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What is your highest paid deal?
Oh, we're just jumping straight in. Yes. Okay, so I have 2 answers because one turned out to be my highest paid deal by accident afterwards, right? So I'll give you the first answer, which is straight off the bat, my highest paid deal was £10,000. But then by accident, what turned out to be my highest paid deal was £11,000. But that originally started off as £6,000. And the reason it improved to £11,000 is because they wanted paid usage for a period of time. It was about like a month, and they wanted to put another £5,000 behind that.
Whoa.
So they gave me £5,000 so that they could put a few, I don't know how many, hundreds of thousands behind that.
This is nuts. This might be the highest, at least I've heard of.
Well, that's the highest I've ever seen in my lifetime. So obviously I would love, so.
Whoa, well, how much work did you have to put in for the 10,000 one?
For the 10,000 one, that was 4 short form videos. Mm-hmm. And then I also did like some stories with that. Mm. And then I think I did some carousels on Instagram. And obviously...
I hate those.
Why?
I know it's easy, it's low, it's not too much.
It's low effort.
Yeah, but then it doesn't get the numbers.
Yeah, but they wanted it. I was like, fine, I know this is not going to perform, but if you want it, fine.
Okay.
I was like, I know the videos. That's why it wasn't, because I feel like I should have charged more, because it is like 4 videos, 4 carousels, and 4 stories. But I was like, you know what, the carousels, you're not going to be happy with the results. So let me not stress you out and like ask for more. So at least like when you're disappointed with the carousel results, it's like, oh, but we only get, like, it was only 10K. So it's really like, you're getting the videos, you're getting the stories.
Okay, so that would average out at like 2,000, let's say 2,000, not 2,500, because there's the pictures and everything else. Let's say that each video is averaging out at 2,000.
Yeah.
right? Pounds.
Yeah.
How, in your contracts, do you have to keep them up? Let's say that one. Do you have to keep them up for a lifetime?
As far as I'm aware, I think there is a clause in contracts which say you can't delete this within a certain period of time. I mean, it's just like, I personally wouldn't, but I don't know. That's a good question. I'd love to know.
That's something I'm so interested in nowadays. I found that the bigger creators like Mr. Beast, they will they'll keep your post up for like 6 months.
That makes sense though, because they've got a huge audience, especially for YouTube. That's passive reach for a brand.
Yes.
It's not just like an Instagram post that's gonna reach a few thousand, how many thousands
The
of people.
shelf life is way higher.
YouTube, it's like someone could discover this in 5 years' time. So YouTube rates completely different, of course. But for like short form content on platforms like Instagram and TikTok, Instagram especially, rates are like smaller in my opinion because of that shelf life being smaller. But something like TikTok now being a search engine as well, like charging way more because it's like someone could just search how to stream so-and-so and then the streaming platform ad could come up.
I've noticed you think that charging on TikTok should be way higher than Instagram.
Just because of the
search engine.
Just because of the search engine ability, it's similar to YouTube in that way.
I think TikTok's way more valuable than Instagram. I agree. I mean, for different reasons.
Okay, why?
But, okay, the reason I think it is everyone's on TikTok now.
Yeah.
Everyone's on TikTok now. TikToks go viral on other platforms.
Yeah.
The numbers are just crazy. The engagement is out of this, like it's nuts.
I think it also depends on the brand's goals though.
True.
If they're looking for like conversions, Instagram is great.
Yeah,
but if they're just looking for brand awareness, then TikTok.
Yes.
So it depends on the KPIs.
True,
if they're looking for both brand awareness and core engagement, then I'd be like YouTube. So it just depends on the brand goals. But I think that's why people aim towards TikTok specifically for content creators because we're not generating sales per se. We're mainly there in
like
the brand awareness stage.
Yes.
But yeah.
Funnily enough, like we came to the same point from different perspectives, but most people I've met do not rate TikTok, especially brands.
Really?
They do not rate it as like at least in Africa.
Interesting.
Okay, they rate it, but not as much as Instagram. Actually, this is the hierarchy. It's Instagram first, okay? You could make a lot of money in Instagram from brand deals. Then down, then leave number 2, 3 spot open. Then maybe number 4 would be TikTok, and then last place YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah.
It kind of gives me the opposite vibe in the UK. Like, it gives me the vibe of like TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, from what I've seen. And from my like conversations with brands. I think because of the longevity of the content on those platforms and then also where the demographics are. Yeah, it's very interesting.
That's so interesting.
And yeah.
And to me, it's so obvious. I'm like, it's obviously TikTok.
Yeah, but not to everyone.
Yeah.
I think it's because being a creator, you like obviously you notice the difference on the different platforms and what people are doing.
If I were to rate it though, I would say YouTube's the most valuable one.
Yeah, me too.
People just care more.
Yeah, it's your core audience there. Yeah.
And then TikTok and then Instagram.
I also forgot to mention with TikTok, now you can shop directly with TikTok Shop.
Yes.
So I know Instagram has their shop, but let's be real, like, no one is using it. With TikTok Shop, people are dialed in. Like, I've never bought anything on Instagram shops, but TikTok Shop, I will be like, oh yeah, that's...
I've never used it. It's not because it's not available here, I think.
Oh, okay, but people are using it. TikTok for business is wild.
Really?
Yeah, I'm actually doing a panel next month. By the time this comes out, it would have passed. But it's about like how brands can better work with TikTok creators. So brands are really, really focused on like TikTok as a platform for business moving forward.
TikTok is the only platform
London,
that I
in
see.
UK.
TikTok is the only platform that I see people writing out long comments. Like people really, really engage.
They engage. They do engage.
I mean, besides
but
YouTube.
Not long term.
True.
I feel like they engage in that moment and then long term they don't. But that's like why it's great for brand awareness because the brand doesn't need a TikTok page that tons of people follow.
Yes.
They just need a video that's going to perform well and reach tons of people.
Yes.
But on Instagram, you need to have that audience and that engagement in order for it to have that same reach and, you know.
I agree.
So, it's so interesting. It's so nuanced. The like... brand
interesting.
partnerships world.
Someone needs to do like an article or a video explaining why it's so different in the UK, different in Kenya.
Yeah.
You know,
Might be something to work on. What was your highest paid deal?
Oh, my highest paid deal was okay. So I answered this in two parts as well. I've gotten paid. Okay, there's the highest paid deal, and then there's the best deal. The one that I did like the least effort.
Okay.
Everything. Best paid deal I did was I don't know if I could. If I say this, it's very obvious which one it was.
Why?
Actually, all of them.
Don't.
I've only had like a few brand deals, like
Okay.
like 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't say the category it was in then maybe.
But I the moment I say what it was,
Okay.
it'll be obvious.
Okay. If you don't want to, that's fine.
Okay, maybe let me not say this one.
Okay.
But the best one was I did a even this one is very obvious which one because I had to say what video it was. And I don't have too many
You don't have to say
videos.
what video it was.
Really?
No.
Okay, I did a video that only took like 30 minutes to film. Maybe had 2 hours to edit. And I got paid $1,500.
Wow. I like the fact that you took into account the amount of time that it took you, because I feel like the cost per minute, for example, is something I haven't really taken into account before when it comes to like valuing a deal. Sometimes I'll just be like, oh yeah, it's like this many deliverables, but not necessarily how long is it taking me to film this stuff, and like, is it worth that time? But I've started to do that a bit more now.
And then something I've learned from you today is to kind of do the opposite, because like what you said before, as long as it's going out to your audience,
Yeah.
you know, like there's a value in that already. So this other side, like how long it's gonna take, I feel like in the grand scheme of things, that's secondary. You need to get that.
Very much.
You need to get that as low as possible.
Yeah.
Low effort. Oh, not low effort, but like lower.
Yeah, like
because it needs to be easy.
efficient.
Efficiency.
Yeah, more efficient.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. I
'Cause
feel
it's
like
going out to the-
a good concept that I've learned recently is having an MLE, which is like a minimum level of engagement. So having like a base rate that every brand needs to pay you in order for them to work with you. I learned that from the 505 podcast. Shout out to them. But that's basically means, for example, if my MLE was like £1,000, it doesn't matter if that video is going to take me 30 minutes to film or 5 days to film. The minimum
We
that
cannot
I
go below
accept
this.
is this, just because of the value of what you've cultivated over X number of years or whatever. So yeah, you should maybe
agree.
you should probably have one of those, or like think about what yours would be.
Because again, I can't charge based off of the work I put in.
No.
It's a value.
Because it's compounded from
Yes.
all the work you've put in before.
Yes.
So yeah.
Because it's the smartest way to do. Because if I keep with that mentality,
You'll charge like $10 because like, oh, this will only take me like two minutes. No.
yeah,
It took you 6-something years to build all of this
Yes.
audience that it's going out to. So
yeah,
Yeah.
eventually they'll get ripped off with this method of calculating.
yeah, but for now it works.
Okay.
What's the lowest deal you've ever taken, and why did you take it?
Lowest deal I've ever taken? Oh, I could say this one. So I had this idea. I want to do it here in Kenya too. I had this idea. I wanted to try just a TikTok video, TikTok and Instagram. I wanted to try the most expensive food I could find in Uganda. Yeah, I want to try the most expensive food I could find in Uganda. And so I went to Jumia and I asked them, I was like, yo, like there's idea I have, I think it'd move. Like, how do we do this? I had never done a brand deal before that. I didn't even care about the money, whatever. I just wanted to do the content. So yeah, I just went to them and then I told them, if you guys pay for the meal, it was kind of expensive. It was basically like, maybe it was $300.
Oh wow. For
Yeah.
one meal?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
This is like 2 years ago.
Okay.
This is when I had no TikTok following.
Okay.
That it was a big gamble on their end as well.
Yeah. They were like, okay.
They really liked the idea.
Yeah.
So I could not charge any money. That was a no-no. So, and obviously like that was one of the brands that has they have like their brand goals for the month. So you can't just come with your idea and then get paid. You know what I mean? Yeah, which would be different for the UK.
Yeah.
Because the UK, you could come with your thing and then just...
Yeah, I think some brands are a bit more like, we don't know what we want. Tell us.
So yeah, I told them, if you pay for this meal, I'll do a TikTok. I think it's going to move. And then they were like, okay, we'll give you like this little voucher and we'll talk to the restaurant. It was this giant meal, like... It was so many things. It was like a whole goat. Yeah, with like all this different food. That must have been like 15 kilograms of food.
One thing that I like your idea is that you're kind of selling the idea instead of selling your followers, for example.
Yes.
And I've noticed a huge shift in the industry where brands are looking to content creators for their content, finally, instead of looking for content creators to be salespeople. You know, so that's like a perfect example of if you just focus on your creation instead of focusing on how many people it's going to reach, the brand will like that because then you can sell usage rights, for example, like what I did with the other deal.
Yes.
You can sell usage rights, they can use it in their own way, shape or form, and you get extra money for that, of course, as well.
It's very hard to compete on the numbers.
Yeah, so like it changes all the time. We don't know how people are going to respond.
Yes.
Like we can't judge you can't judge how good our work is based on how people have responded to it from a brand perspective.
Yes.
So it's good that brands are now just coming to us for like, we want you to create this sort of video and so we can use it for this sort of thing, you know, so. Yeah,
so what would be the lowest deal you've ever taken and why would you take it?
I've done definitely like many deals for £0. Or like in exchange for like clothes or in exchange for like an experience or food, whatever, same vibe. But monetarily, I remember starting out being paid like, I definitely did a deal for like £70 before. And that was for like a reel. And I was like, this is great stuff, guys. I could do this. Like And then...
the £70 is cute.
Yeah, I was like, guys, do you know about this content creating? Like, could make some serious money. But yeah, definitely. And then more recently, like in the same breath of doing these like 5-figure deals, I did a deal for like £500 for like a similar, like for one reel. But that was because I really liked the brand and I was like, yeah, I'm going to use this product anyway. I'll just do it because it'll be a good excuse for me to like use the product. But now looking back, the amount of, like I went really extra with my execution as well. I was like, this is so fun. But obviously the brand didn't deserve all that effort. Yeah. But it was just like a fun, creative thing for me to do. But obviously, like, it still need to be real. And when it came to paying bills, I was like, yeah, I probably should have.
So you wouldn't do that now? Let's say it came now, it's a brand that you really, really want. Let's say, whatever, Fenty Beauty, but they're not paying.
No, because I'd be like, I know you have a budget. This brand.
But they're giving you a bunch of product.
No, like now I know my value, and I struggle to think of me compromising my value for just the sake of me having a good time filming it, because I can have a good time filming organic content. You know, when it comes to the brands, the budget is what's gonna make that a bit more worthwhile.
And you can't take your enjoyment to the bank. You can't tell that to your landlord.
My landlord, no, but I had a really good time filming this deal. So how about we just enjoy this conversation and you take that as payment, you know?
Enjoy your living in your space. You enjoy Micah.
Yeah, so I've definitely learned a bit more now. Like, doesn't matter who the brand is. I could be gagging to work for them, but if they don't see the value, unfortunately, it might have to be a no. Sometimes it could be a good portfolio piece, but like there's only so much you can compromise.
The exposure thing, I hate that.
I hate the exposure thing.
Just do it because you're gonna get exposure.
But there's some things where I'm like, I'll take the exposure. For example, I did a billboard with Samsung in Piccadilly Circus. They weren't paying me for that, obviously, but I was like, oh, it would look cool to have my face in Piccadilly. So sure, I'll come down. I'll do that. But when it's just like, yeah, you'll be on our Instagram page, like, what am I doing with that? That's not my audience anyway. Who cares about me on your Instagram page? Yeah, that was my lowest. Yeah, how do you negotiate with brands?
How do I negotiate with brands? It depends. If I went to the brand, I'd go with a budget in mind, and I would give them. Okay, so basically, what I do is I have video ideas, and that's what I pitch brands. Which is why I don't do too well with brand partnerships. Like I haven't really done too many because I'm an idea guy. I have ideas. I want them to
capitalize on that.
Yeah, I want us to work on this idea. But then brands have their marketing objectives that you need to fit into. If you're trying to make money, in fact, most of the creators that make a lot of money, especially in this field, it's mostly brand. They mostly do brand content. They'll do some organic content, but it's like 50-50. Some brand content, some organic content, right? So how I'll do it is I'll go to brands with the idea. I have this idea that I want to do right now, right? I want to make you know what a smocha is?
A what?
A smocha.
No.
It's like the most popular street food here in Kenya.
Oh, okay.
It's a chapati and like a little sausage.
Oh yeah, like
A smoky, yeah.
So yeah, I know.
So that's a smocha.
Oh, okay.
Smoky chapati. Smocha.
Oh, that's cool.
I want to make a giant one, like the size of this table, right?
Wow.
Sorry, like the size of this chair.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Okay.
for a world record.
Oh, okay. You want the world record stuff, yes. You want a second one, a third one.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
So basically, but it's really expensive. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna pitch this to brands. It's gonna cost a lot of money. So I was gonna pitch this to brands. So I have this budget, and now brands might not necessarily reach that. They might not necessarily cover the total budget of these videos, but I'll have like little packages from them. I learned this from one of my friends here, right? Shout out Albi if you're listening. Have like little packages. There's like for $1,000 you'll get this. Like your merchandise will be in the video, like your little shirts if you're like a smoky company. And then for 3,000 we'll do this. And then for 5,000 I'll do this. And then for 10,000 we'll do this. So that's how I'm structuring my deals now.
It's amazing.
Yes, if it's like a super big one, if it's not that big, if it's just like a video that might cost like a few thousand, then I'll just ask one brand. Like I have another idea. I have this idea that I really want to do. I want to see how much the most expensive ride would be across Kenya.
Okay.
So I want to go to these. Why I bring this up is I want to structure the deal, right? I want to start in like an Uber.
Okay.
From the coast up to the other end of Kenya and see how expensive that would get. Because there's no fee. Like if you try and order right now, they won't give you a fee.
Yeah, and you're paying for this?
You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
I want them to pay for it.
Of course.
So I'll just go to that company in specific that I think would be good for that, whatever idea it is. And then I'll tell them how much it'll cost and how much extra they'd have to give me. And that's how I talk to them. And then we just go back and forth. Okay. We won't typically go back and forth on the cost of the video. They don't really care about that. What's funny is they care about how much you are making, how much you're making on top of that. So
that is fair enough, though.
Yes.
Because I don't know how this works on YouTube, but sometimes if you do like a brand partnership or something, and you're obviously getting AdSense from that video, have you ever had a brand be like, "We want 10% of the AdSense"?
No, because here they don't really know that you make any ad revenue.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I've never heard like a brand doing that, but in my mind, I'd wonder.
What? Do you make any money from Instagram? There was that partner program.
Directly from the app?
Yeah.
No.
What happened to that program?
I think it was only US based.
Okay.
But yeah, it hasn't rolled out to England, as far as I'm aware. Or if it has, you probably have to have like a certain number of followers that I definitely don't. So yeah.
How do you negotiate with brands?
How do I negotiate with brands? At the moment, I have management, so they do the negotiation on my behalf. But normally, they'll come to me with like, okay, the brand has come with this, and then I can say no, ask them for higher, or just like no, I'm not doing it, or yes, straight away. And sometimes, if they're not budging on this budget, I'll just like remove a deliverable or two and go from there.
Oh yeah, this is what you get for this.
Yeah, if they're like, we've got 2,000 and we want 3 TikToks, I'm like, no, you can get 1 or like 2, for example, depending on, do you know what I mean?
That's a very smart way of looking at it.
Because sometimes you don't want to lose out on the deal, but then you don't also want to undervalue your work.
Yeah, this is what you can afford.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's your budget, so let me now tell you what you're getting for that. Let's start there.
So
sometimes that doesn't work.
So there's a negotiation that happens on your management side and then with you as well? The management also comes to you?
Me and my management don't really negotiate because it's more like this is what I think, and they'll be like, great, let me relay that to the brand. It's not like me convincing my management that I deserve more. It's just like, what do you think? Okay, cool, we'll tell them. Do you know what I mean?
Would the management know your fees? Like, okay, I think we think Tati be okay with this. Like,
yeah. So sometimes they'll come to me and be like, we're not happy with this, but what do you think? Or they'll be like, yeah, we've got this deal come in. We think it's all right. What do you think? But they'll make it very clear that like they're always trying to push for more. For example, they'll never accept a deal like straight off the bat, obviously. It's always like, oh, I was there a bit more. But I feel like they definitely obviously understand my worth and are helping me to understand that too. Because there are some things that I'd accept. They'll come to me with a deal. They'll be like, it's not great. And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's not great. Of course it's not great. Like 1,000 something. Like, of course that's not great. Yeah. I too think I should get more. But like would be something like in the past that I'd be like, yep, and not even like wiggle on it. So yeah. Because have you ever had that feeling where like you'll approach a brand and like you'll say, my rate's for this or this, and they're like, cool. And you're like, damn, because I could have asked for more.
There's a saying in marketing, like, if you say a price and people are okay with it immediately, you said a price that was too low.
Yeah, exactly. And also, what you were talking about before about with packages, a good like psychological thing that I learned in neuromarketing is if you like start with the highest price and then the lowest price and then the middle price. Don't go from like low, medium, high, because immediately they hear the higher price and they're like, oh, that's a bit expensive, maybe. But then they hit the lower price, they're like, oh, okay, no, but that's like so affordable. I'm saving money with the low price. And then if you go with the middle one, it immediately seems 100% more appealing.
It's called the marketing ladder, something like that.
Yeah, like if you start with like, oh, I can do between 4,000 and 8,000, 8,000 seems extortionate.
Yes.
But if you go like, oh yeah, I could do this between like 8,000 to 4,000. It's like, yeah, okay, like I can go down like below, like around the 4,000 mark.
Okay.
So another tip from the 5 and 5 podcast. I have to give credit where credit is due. But yeah.
What's the number one thing you ask brands before collab?
I always ask, what's the timeline? How many deliverables? What's the budget? I feel like that's the
the top three.
Yeah. And then if there are any like technical constraints, like if I have to use copyrighted music, non-copyrighted music from like the commercial library, for example, or if there are any like creative concepts that they don't want me to do because like another creator has done them, for example. Because it then saves me time. Like, for example, there was a campaign I did where I had an idea to visit like 3 locations, and they were like, oh, we'd love this, but like another creator's doing it. And it would have saved me time if I'd said, give me a list of ideas that you definitely don't want me to do. So I started implementing that.
Jesus Christ. You know, if you asked me a question in my head, I was thinking, mine's so simple. Like, I'd just be asking, I'm like, I ask like, in fact, I don't even really ask any questions. It's just, I don't ask them about music. I don't ask them about what. I don't ask them about, maybe the one thing I do ask them about is when they need it done.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, fair enough. But then that shows how much creative freedom you do have. It's like I'm immediately imposing restrictions on myself by asking, okay, what about this?
But it makes it easier, as you said.
Yeah, it does make workflow easier, but it makes it more mechanical. It's more like that's very much like a job.
Yes.
It's not like, oh, this is a fun like project where I can just like think freely.
You put that so beautifully.
You know?
That's like the difference right now between us. It's
like you're treating it like an art.
Yes.
I'm treating it like a task.
Yes.
Yeah. But I reserve my like creativity for my organic stuff, just because I like to get the brand stuff done and out the way to then free up time for the more organic stuff.
I think the best position to be in would be to kind of balance those two.
Yeah.
An art form, but also this is a business. Like, we need to make some money.
Yeah, the rent needs to be paid. Do you diversify your income as a creator? And if so, how?
Diversify as a creator?
Mm-hmm. Or just diversify your income as a creator? So, like, do you diversify your income, basically? Or is creating content, like, your main...
Oh, no, it's all I do. Okay. Literally. If I made money from if I made whatever money I made from a video, it'll just go back into the next video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
interesting.
literally. The way it came.
But interesting. I guess also because your video ideas are so, they give the vibe that they're so high production and big budget.
Thank you.
Do you know what I mean? Like I wouldn't put you in the same like category of YouTube as like other just vloggers, for example. Like I would say like I'm a vlogger, but I'd say you're like, you create, like I would say I would put your stuff on like more of a TV level, if that makes sense. Like
Thank
mini
you.
episodes, like episodes of
That
the
means
show.
a lot coming from you.
Really?
That
Thank
actually
you.
knows about TV and production.
Oh yeah, I'd say yours are more like episodic, whereas like the
Oh,
stuff
yes.
I create is like more of just like, hey guys, this is what I'm doing today. You know, it's not like a concept in the same way. So it makes sense that you have to continuously reinvest into that.
Yes.
Interesting.
Huh? How do you diversify your income as a creator?
Me personally, like when I make money from a brand deal, for example, I'll like, my main thing is like investing. I'm big into like investing. So I think that's like my main other stream of income. So like property or like financial investments and stuff.
Instrument.
And then also education. Like I'm very big into like learning more. So I'll like pay to do a course on something. And then like, for example, with marketing, like digital marketing, I did a master's in that. So now when I, like another stream of income is like digital marketing consulting. So I can charge more for that because I'm like, I have a degree. So stuff like that. So I'd say my main three is like content creation, investments, like property and like financial products, and then digital marketing consulting, which is very new. So I wouldn't say it like, I'm like, that's a stream as such, but it's like getting there. And then I also have a podcast. But again, that's more of an expense.
Expense. That's what I was gonna say. I'm like, huh?
That's you know, taking away money from my investments. But it's an investment in the long term, I hope.
I think the way I understood this is diversifying the expenditure. I think the way to answer again, I think the way I diversify my income is income. I think my income is diversified via YouTube revenue, so getting paid per view, brand deals, and I think that's it. Revenue and the YouTube revenue and brand
I feel
deals.
like YouTube is a great example of a platform that allows you to have another stream of income as a creator outside of brand partnerships because of the AdSense, especially as a bigger creator. That's like, I know people who, like I've heard of people who literally make salaries just from YouTube ad revenue. And I love the idea that it is passive as well, because you can upload a video, 10 years later, you're still earning AdSense on that first video. So yeah, that's great.
And to me, as a creator that is trying to make this financially viable right now, the only thing you could depend on is yourself.
Yeah.
Brand deals don't sound to me like much of a business strategy. You
No.
could make a lot of money with brand deals,
Yeah.
but there's so much in there that's out of your control.
Yeah. That's why it's like stressful. That's why I've like personally felt the need to diversify.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, what if a brand doesn't want to work with me? What do I do now?
It's
Like,
not you can't wake up in the morning and chase a brand deal.
Yeah.
That's not the
At
thing.
the end of the day, they're going to be the ones like, no.
Yeah.
So yeah, 100% agree.
But you could put in a set amount of effort to how many YouTube videos you could
Yes.
make to
Yeah.
make the X amount of revenue.
Yeah, have your strategy for YouTube for growth, and yeah, 100%.
At least, because I've talked to a lot of my creator friends, the people that I know that make ridiculous money from content creation, they make money based off of their effort. YouTube revenue. Because you could only scale brand deals so far. How many
Yeah.
brand deals could you do a month
Yeah, exactly.
before they ask you for revisions?
Yeah, exactly. It's
You know?
not the same level of sustainability.
Yeah.
And also, YouTube is like ranked as the #1 platform for creators to make money in that way. There's like 12 different ways to make money on YouTube. So like outside of ad revenue, there's a lot more.
Yes.
So yeah, that does make sense. It's very interesting. It's a very interesting place to be.
Shout out TikTok there's another program.
Yeah, the creative program, right? Yeah.
Facebook
yeah.
too.
Oh, interesting. I haven't
Yeah.
touched Facebook in a long time.
You'd be able to get that.
So what is your final message to content creators or anyone looking to be a content creator?
Do it for the right reasons. I think you should do it for the right reasons. The right reason might be because you like content creation. Right reason might be because it's an avenue to make some money. But even that wouldn't be like a very good enough. It wouldn't be good enough to start content creation because it's a business at the end of the day. Very difficult one at that. Very mentally taxing. And if you're doing it for the right reasons, like you genuinely like making this content, there's no way you could lose. And I listened to that advice before I began YouTube, and it rings in my head every day. I'm like, bro, okay, like this thing's becoming really hard. Like, whoa, at what point do we give up? Like, these videos are still taking a while to make, still super expensive, it's still not profitable after 3 years, you know? But I feel like my head's in the right place. I really just want to do it because I feel like this is who I'm meant to be. I just want to be a character in my own world, and I can go and watch my videos, you know?
Where do you get your inspiration from? I've been meaning to ask. Like,
different places.
Yeah, where though?
I think we all get inspiration from different places, but in specific, at least I used to watch YouTube a lot. So there's that. I still watch some YouTube, like the big creators everywhere around the world. Lagos, Kenya, Uganda. Inspiration from creators everywhere. And also just things I want to make, because I think my goal, if you were to ask me why I do the videos I do, I think I genuinely want to make dope African content. Like, I just want to make content that I could be proud of. Like, we really, like, this was like a really, really good video. This was something very unique. Because, just to provide some context, there's been different waves of social media. So there's been like the discovery ones where we just start social media. Then there's been the ones where we kind of like, especially here in Africa, then there's been a wave where we show what Africa, this is just the one we've gotten out of, where we show what Africa has to offer to the rest of the world. Because, you know, a lot of people don't, you know how it is, like the narratives. So I feel like we've just gotten out of that phase. You've seen the YouTube videos, like, you won't believe this is in Kenya.
Yeah.
You won't believe there's this big resort in Kilifi.
Yeah,
You won't believe. I feel like we just got out of that. And I feel like the stage we're in now is one where we engineer things, like we make dope African things, you know? Like African inventions. The world record thing is going crazy right now. Everyone's trying to do a world record. I feel like that's the stage we're in now, and that's where I belong. I just want to make dope African things. I have a background in engineering, so things like that really appeal to me. Like, science, making a giant small child.
Interesting.
So,
that makes a lot of sense now.
Yeah, that's where I get my inspiration from.
Wow, okay. I feel like similar to you. I get my inspiration mainly from like film, TV, and music, I'd say. But in terms of the message I'd give people, like my final takeaway, is to think a lot about like your skill set. I think people have this preconceived idea that being a content creator can be super easy, which obviously it can, because you can put out just low effort content where you're doing nothing of skill, which is fine, obviously, works for some. But I think if you're looking for it to be a sustainable thing, it's a good idea to think about what skills you can either build or what you have already, whether it's editing, video, like copywriting, storytelling, and then maybe look to areas where you lack and see how you can improve. Because we can learn for free, and I feel like if we have access to all these different, you know, mediums where we can learn, why not take advantage and try to become better in those aspects? But yeah, that would be my message, I think.
I agree. Because most of what you have at the beginning is time.
Exactly.
You don't really have too much money, but you have time.
Yeah, and time with like the combination of all this free knowledge we have access to is so valuable.
Literally.
Learning for free.
Yeah.
When people
we used to buy courses for this.
Yeah, like people used to have to buy books. Like the internet wasn't a thing. Like we are so privileged in this position to just be able to continue to learn. So I feel like that's so valuable. No one can take away your skill, whereas someone can come and like take a picture of like their face or whatever, but no one can, at the end of the day, no one can be like, no, but I know exactly the same things as her, or like have the same perspective. So I think like focusing on the skill set, your mind, your own tone of voice, your own personality.
I think that's so beautiful, because I've spoken to a few older content creators ever since I came to Kenya. A lot of them, their exit plan, which is also important to have an exit plan, obviously not if you're just starting out, but a lot of them, their exit plan is to end up in positions that are more corporate. Like they work in social media agencies,
like,
you know, like that represent social, like managers now, you know. That comes from the skill sets that they built, as you said, from YouTube, right?
From being a creator.
How to negotiate, how to edit, like the understanding.
Yeah, the marketing.
Yes, the marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so especially it also means that you don't have to rely on as many people. So like if you can do your workflow from start to finish, you don't have to rely on an editor, you don't have to rely on a videographer if need be.
Give us the tea. Have you got any future exciting projects coming up?
Off the top of my head, I'm kind of just keeping on with what I'm doing at the moment. I feel like a lot of my plans are long-term plans. I find it hard to create short-term plans in the sense of like accomplishing something in 1 year. So most of my plans are like 2 to 3 years, time to like come into fruition. But I guess this whole series I'm a producer on, so this is like the biggest one, I guess, that's launching soon. And then everything else is, I'm like doing some more like property stuff, so like renovating my house, some stuff here as well. So like, I feel like those are my biggest things that I want to like incorporate in my content moving forward. So it's like more of like the educational side of things, like life education, and like how we can all just become, level up a bit.
That'd be really nice if those two projects could like synergize.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried to, when I arrived in Kenya, I was like, I bought an apartment, like, let's go check it out and stuff like that. So, and then people from then asked for advice of like how to get on the property ladder, for example, or tips for starting to become like financially literate, because that's one of the things that I'm so passionate about, but I'm not vocal about online. But I feel like it's like, it makes sense to like share knowledge with people. If I've also acquired this knowledge for like free almost from just like talking to other people and searching online, especially in a country like England where it does feel like we're being financially just like held in purgatory, it's like we do need to learn how to be financially literate, how to invest, how to, grow our money into just like having wealth, not just being rich.
Yes.
I just feel like why not share that info and we can all learn together. That's like my main motto for the year. Let's just learn together, because I also don't know 100% what I'm doing, but like we can, like I love like sharing things and then getting advice from people, and like it's like a value exchange in a way. We can all like learn together. Okay. So yeah, that would be my biggest project, I guess. That's not really a project, but yeah, plug yourself. Where can people find you online?
Raymond Kahuma on all social media platforms. Okay.
Nice. I'm Tati Kapaya on all social media platforms. Thank you, Creators on Creators, for having me, Tati Kapaya.
And Raymond Kahuma.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
And follow Creators and Creators for more episodes. Wow.